I'm Craigo, and join me on my adventures with Craig's cryptocurrency as we cover the blockchain, Web3, NFT, and cryptocurrency technologies. Interviewing the best in the industry, giving tips and tricks, and also sharing with you projects that I'm most excited about. Welcome to Craig's Crypto Corner, the best in blockchain, Web3, NFT, and cryptocurrency technology. Today, I have Hrish Lotlikar, co-owner and founder of the Superworld. How are you doing, my friend?
Great. It's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's an honor to have you. And, you know, my day job is that I am a realtor. And so I found an affinity for collecting land in the metaverse. And I came across Superworld just by exploring and scrolling through some different tabs. And then I also got to hear you speak on a forum, and I was super impressed, so super impressed that I actually went and sent you a direct message and you said, hey, reach out to my team. Let's see what we can do. And so here you are today. So thank you so much for being a guest.
Yeah, no, it's an honor and pleasure to be here with your audience and to have this conversation. So for us, it's really about how do we kind of again build a global team. We call it Team Superworld. So we're always excited to kind of spread the message and get more people understanding what this whole space of the metaverse and what we're building here and how we're enhancing the real world. So excited to be here. Thank you.
I've got absolutely the pleasure's mine. I've got some really great questions for you today because I am an owner of two plots currently. And as I was coming to this podcast today, getting ready for you, one of my friends calls me and says, hey, I've been reading the articles. I saw they were featured in Grant Cardone, CSNBC. Like, you're all over the place. So what is the Superworld platform and what is the mission? I guess it's a 2-in-1 question.
Yeah, so Superworld is a virtual world mapped on top of the real world. So if I were going to explain you how it works, I use a three-pronged analogy to explain it. The first prong is Pokemon Go, and that's an analogy for adding digital information anywhere in the world. So you have a world, I have a world, brands have worlds. There's an infinite number of filters on the world, right? So what we first want to do is enable you or anyone to be able to create, discover, and monetize anything anywhere. So create literally anything. You can think of the world as a video game on top of the real world, around us, anywhere in real world locations. You can put a hologram of yourself somewhere. You could put like a 3D yacht in the harbor. We did something like that already. Literally you can add NFTs in real world locations, digital assets, 3D, 2D, audio, anything. And then again, the main part of what a lot of people think about is the monopoly analogy, which is we've divided the surface of the earth into 64 billion virtual plots of land. Each plot is a piece of virtual real estate. And when you buy a plot of land, again, this covers the surface of the earth. So anywhere in the world, you can buy a block of virtual land. And if you buy a block, you're buying an NFT. And you're getting a share of any of the economics that happens there: advertising, e-commerce, digital commerce, data analytics, and gaming. There's a data aspect of this. We're launching a token. So, ultimately it is a world. It's a virtual world on top of the real world, empowering people and helping us enhance the real world.
I think the digital world will inspire the real world to become better. And don't worry, we are going to talk about the S token because I can't wait for when that drops. I'm super excited for that. I do want to talk to you about your ties to Ukraine, what's going on, how Superworld is having engagement with that to really make an impact and a difference. Because the one thing that I notice with a lot of different NFT platforms is that they say they're going to do something, but you guys actually do it. Tell me what you guys are doing in response to what's going on over there.
Yeah. So, again, I have a very strong, long lasting relationship with Ukraine. I got to Ukraine about 13 years ago and started a venture capital fund there helping early stage technology entrepreneurs to start businesses of all types across early stage kind of technology areas. We invested in about 25 companies in the region over a few years back in 2011 kind of time frame. So I have a lot of close friends there, a lot of close business colleagues and partners. And love Ukraine very much. It's one of my homes. I live very globally, nomadically. So every year live in different parts of the world, but Ukraine is one of the places I spend a lot of time. So it is definitely my home. But what we are, again, at Superworld really focused on is how do we, again, utilize this platform to make an impact? How do we utilize this platform to spread the message of, whatever anyone wants to do that is going to be impactful for the world? How do we empower our users? And then collectively, how do we improve the world? So for Ukraine specifically, this is an opportunity for us at Superworld to utilize this technology. And what we are doing is we've launched a series of augmented reality slogans, of 3D objects, of images of what's happening in Ukraine. I think one of the issues that's happening right now is there's a lot of people, in most of the population, I would say, of Russia, who is not even aware of what Putin is doing or the destruction that's happening, or how the Ukrainians kind of feel about it. And so we can utilize augmented reality to do what we call an AR revolution, right? And so we're enabling our users to put augmented reality signs of 3D objects, things that they can place in Red Square in Moscow, or they can place in their cities anywhere in the world, in Russia or anywhere, and see the types of things that are happening in Ukraine on the ground, but also the message and education of understanding what is happening in this war, and that we need to stop the war, we need to stop Putin, and we need to bring peace to the world. And so that's one thing. And then the other thing we're doing is we're creating NFTs, and we'll be launching those, and we'll be giving away 100% of all of the proceeds of those NFTs to charities in Ukraine, supporting the Ukrainian people. So I think those are the first two things we're doing. I don't think that's it. And
Amazing.
those are things we've just launched. So
No, that's amazing, and I love it. And so I think that's where the Web3, when people are trying around me to understand Web3 and NFT and how augmented reality actually works, you just gave two really powerful examples of not just what you're doing from a monetary standpoint by those NFTs that you're going to be launching off. And I will definitely grab one of those as soon as I know that they're available. But the second thing you're doing is you're creating awareness, and you're allowing the people of Russia to also get in on this and say, hey, there are a lot of people out there who don't want to see war and don't want to see innocent people killed. So I love you guys over there at Superworld for what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit more about the S token, its utility that it will eventually have, and then a little bit about staking and governance for those that aren't aware.
Sure. So, on a high level, we have a very galvanized audience. We have a community that really believes in, our mission at Superworld, which is empowering people, and again, very collectively, improving the world through these technologies. And so we've been thinking for a while of how to best kind of go about getting a token out there into the market. And we've, again, as everything we do, we're very long-term oriented, and again, very customer obsessed, and trying to understand kind of what do our super citizens want here out of the token. And so preliminarily, what we'll do is we'll launch a token at some point this year. We're again backed by Outlier Ventures in London. We're backed by Draper Goring Home, by SOSV, which has D1 Labs, and we have a number of blockchain focused investors involved in Superworld. So we're getting a lot of guidance there. But the token will enable payments. It'll enable DeFi, staking. It'll enable governance, content curation, content creation. I have a concept which I call live to earn. And live to earn is basically how do you utilize tokenomics to incentivize people's passions in their real life. Now, I think this is what makes Superworld different. Superworld is we're a virtual world, and it sounds ironic, but we're a virtual world that's focused on people's real life. And so we want that token to, again, be integrated in all of the things you do in the analog world. How can I get Nike to pay for you to go on a run? How do I get, Virgin, cruises to pay you some token to go on a cruise, or do something positive for the environment through Virgin Unite, as an example? I think there's a lot of things that we do in our real life that we can add virtuality to, and virtual, benefits from doing those things, and vice versa. If you buy the token, maybe you get access to a certain event or a certain organization, or you kind of again can do something positive for the community by owning that token. So it goes both way, real life and virtual.
I love it, and that's the
Yeah,
utility value, and for those that don't know,
yeah,
governance is when you have the ability and the right to be able to vote within a project that you hold, and so this digital asset is incredibly powerful. I do wanna talk to you a little bit about, and it's a two-pronged question. Why should and how can landowners like myself on Superworld develop within the app?
yeah. So again, just to be very expansive in this vision, because what we want to do again is we're building a platform that empowers people first and foremost, right? And so on that point, we want you to enable you to create anything. Okay. And when I say anything, I'm talking about, the ability to use any tools, whether it's, Maya, Blender, whether it's just your camera, the camera roll that you have on your, photos and videos that you have just on your iPhone or Android phone, whether you're a developer and you actually know how to develop, or you work with a developer and you want to create something pretty elaborate. I think Barbados is building an embassy in Superworld, so that's a very elaborate thing. So from very simple, posting of a photo in a location, right? Or to, again, creating a very elaborate, concert if you're a musician, or a structure. We have, we have so many real estate owners that have so many different visions and ideas of what they want to do. And what our goal is to enable, all of those things in a way that is cross-platform, so viewable, whether it's on a mobile application, whether it's on the web, whether it's viewable in your laptop, whether it's discoverable from anywhere in the world, so you can be there on location, or you can, be across the world and see that same content in augmented reality, in virtual reality, wherever you are in the world. And so, I think that the way that we're thinking about it is we want to enable any type of creation from anywhere, and anything that you're creating in Superworld, we want it to be transportable or viewable from other platforms as well. And then discoverable from anywhere. So, the first use case that we have, that's already live, is that you can create NFTs. So you can create digital assets, 3D, 2D, audio, any type of digital asset. And you can put those digital assets in real world locations. And if you own real estate, you can sell those digital assets on your real estate. And the idea of being an owner of real estate is you get a share of any of the economics that happen there from whatever you do, but whatever anyone does there. So you can create, if you're creating commerce, you have a business, buying real estate is a way to kind of become a stakeholder on the platform.
And that's the long-term vision, because I think a lot of people come into this space and they're thinking, "Oh, I just want to make money overnight." There's long-term game plan to build value, and I think you speak really clearly to the incentivizing Nike paying for a run. Now, Hrish, what you might not know about me is I love to run. I'm a distance runner, so if somebody were to pay me, I think I would be a little more incentivized. So I'm looking forward to having some super tokens when you can pay me to run, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, the
Yeah.
other thing was, in Barbados, I did see some video content on that related to their embassy. and utilizing, I believe, your platform, the platform, the Superworld platform, to make being able to show people, passports in, being able to connect with other locations. I think people and businesses, most importantly, big corporations, are seeing the value in what Web3 is bringing, especially your platform. Let's talk about some of the Superworld members. I'd love you to kind of tell me about a little bit about the cast, because it's a little bit of a who's who.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. I think that the really awesome thing here is, when you create a vision that I would say is expansive, is transformative, is empowering, inclusive. Again, our vision, again, very simply, is empower people and to build a better world. And so when you do that, and you again put together a technology framework, and a plan to kind of execute on that vision. We've been very fortunate to get really the best and brightest change makers, technologists, influencers in the world involved in Superworld. So, and that is our mission. So we have, as an example, on the investor side, we have, Tim Draper Going Home, Outlier Ventures in London, SOSV very globally, White Paper Capital in Switzerland. We have Cadenza Venture Capital in Singapore, Altered Ventures in South America. Again, on the investor side, we cover the globe. We have Bob Metcalf, who's, founder of Ethernet, involved. He's the guy who created Metcalf's Law. We have Stephen Wolfram, who's a partner. We're working with him on the virtual real estate aspects of what we're doing. He's one of the top AI computer scientists in the world. We have, Nithin Gower, who heads digital assets at IBM. So we go consumer all the way to enterprise. We have the head of futures at Omnicom Group, the big marketing and advertising agency. We have the guy who created the word metaverse for the IEEE, working on our product team. So, the idea is, we really want to bring together the best and brightest to help us accomplish this very expansive, again, a vision that is all about empowering people and building a better world.
I love it. And that's another thing. Whenever I'm looking at projects, I look at who's involved. Is it doxed? And again, your list is, humbly speaking, is a who's who in this space, in the Web3 space. One of the other things that really excited me as a landowner in Superworld, was the affiliate program. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. And again, with the token, that will be even further supercharged. And what you can do with the token in terms of activities in Superworld and bringing others onto Superworld. What we have currently is an affiliate program where, as a buyer of Superworld real estate, as a first time virtual real estate buyer, you are able to earn a bonus plot of land, first of all. So your first purchase is effectively, half off, because you get 2 plots for the first one you buy. You got to pay gas fees, but we're on Ethereum. But you definitely get a free bonus plot, but you get a referral link. And you get that referral link actually just even when you sign up. And so once you've signed up, you've gotten a wallet. On the real estate map, there's a referral link. And if you use that referral link, you can, again, post that on your social media, anywhere you want. And every time a new customer comes on board through your referral, you earn a free plot of land for that. So, the idea is, we're building a very galvanized community very organically. And our super citizens are our best, referrers of new clients, new super citizens onto the platform. And so we really want to enable, our community to grow through very strong referral connections. And and that's something we're really proud of, is that's where we're seeing our growth is, I'll tell you kind of a little bit about user behavior a bit later, but one little snippet of that is, one of the things I hear the most when I talk to super citizens is, I hear the phrase, "I've told everyone I know," and people are excited about spreading that referral link.
Yeah, and also when they do click on that referral link, they can share it to their social platforms, and it's directly tied back to that citizen. So I think that's phenomenal. The I always come back to the tokenization because I always believe that adds the utility. When just if I could just get maybe just a little bit out of you on this, when do you think that token, the super token, will be launched?
So, part of that is related to just on our side getting a few things, kind of prepared for that. And so we're working hard on, with our partners, Outlier Ventures and others, to really just do it right. So, again, like everything else, we're very long term oriented here, and so want to get that out properly to our community. We're looking at a variety of potential kind of airdrops as well, to real estate owners. We're looking at how do we get our community primed, so they have all the information. We're releasing a white paper. There's a kind of a number of things there that we're working on to just make sure that everyone is properly informed and that we've structured everything properly, and the community is very primed for this. And again, market timing kind of things as well. But we're shooting for sometime, I would say, maybe late Q2,
Love
to
it.
get that out into
I won't
market.
press you on that anymore
Yeah.
because I'm really excited for the development of the project. But again, like we talk about paper hands, diamond hands. This is a lazy mint, which we'll talk a little bit about. But I think it's also having in this space the diamond mindset. And I think people need to, when they come into it, it's getting excited and staying engaged. It's not about a quick flip. So, what I
Yeah.
love about your project, let's talk about the lazy mint. I love the terminology, and there's so many different terms in this space. But for those that don't know, why don't you articulate that for our audience?
Yeah, it's simply a way to, as a creator, enable the ability for anyone to create NFTs without having to, again, pay the gas fees related to minting. And so the minting will kind of get processed by the buyer of the NFT, and will all, therefore the creation of NFTs is much more frictionless because it's not, and costing you overtly, kind of higher fees from going through that process of minting, when you're creating. But instead, the buyer of the NFTs is kind of taking care of that. And then the NFT gets minted, when the buyer of the NFT executes that transaction. And again, on the NFT marketplace and other things we're doing, we're integrating with Polygon. We'll be creating another integration with Solana as well. We have very close investors from Solana into the company. And so our idea around lazy minting, as well as other things we're doing in terms of improvements, is how do we make this a lot more seamless, a lot more accessible to anyone, to create content as digital assets, and get them out there in the world.
You beat me to the question because there's
Yeah.
about 30 plus blockchains that I'm aware of at least. And Solana is absolutely one of my favorite just due to the fact that they do, I think about 100,000, don't quote me on this, 100,000 transactions per second. And I love Ethereum. Ethereum's not going anywhere. If anything, it'll be the layer two solutions that come to the rescue to bunch those transactions together to make it more affordable. And I think as that happens, as you guys are expanding out into other blockchains, it's going to allow for more landowners because sometimes the cost can keep some people out, and we want to bring everybody in and create and make this project as landowners more about inclusivity. Skipping a little bit, I do want to keep people on the Superworld platform. I think it's really important when we talk about metadata. Can you expand on that a little bit for us?
Sure. So, again, on keeping people on the Superworld platform, you know, again, I think our philosophy is to be software agnostic, hardware agnostic, platform agnostic, blockchain interoperable. Again, we want to be very customer obsessed with understanding what our super citizens want to do, where they want to do it, how they want to access content, how they want to, again, work with our token, work with their community, work with DeFi. I think what we're serving as, and a lot of people say this in the market, and you've mentioned Grant Cardone and The Economist, and CNBC, and a lot of the press out there that talks about us. But the reason it's very interesting to many people is because we're serving as this gateway to the metaverse. And so we get people who don't know anything about AR, VR, blockchain, AI, but they know where they live. They know, they know where maybe they grew up, or where they went to school, or where they went to college, and these places in the world that are important to them. And so they get onto the Superworld platform, they buy real estate in the places they love, and now they want to build something in AR. And we want to give them those tools. They want to, again, utilize and buy maybe more crypto, or get into DeFi, or maybe potentially get into another virtual world as well. And we want to be that gateway. And so, again, what we're trying to do is create a very open way for them to get into Superworld and create anything in Superworld, take content from elsewhere, get it into Superworld. And so we really want to serve as that gateway, and again, provide a platform that we all build together. And so our focus is, again, what do you want to build, and how can we build the tools to enable that? And so that's kind of how we think of the engagement and the loyalty that we've seen, and we're seeing from Superworld, is people are realizing this is a platform that's open. We're very close with all of the other virtual worlds, to be clear.
Yes.
We have very
Yes.
strong relationships with them. You've probably seen this in the press. Um,
Sandbox.
Sandbox, yeah, and Decentraland and others. We really want to build a very inclusive environment. Wherever our super citizens are, that's where we want to be.
I love it. I love it. And I think, again, when people talk about this, I always say, when someone says, well, what's the difference between the general idea of Web 2 and Web 3? It's basically bringing things and merging them closer together, and
Mhm.
everybody working together and being a bridge from one place to the next. And I think you've really spoken to that very well. The other thing I want to talk about is, I feel like your platform is the perfect place for decentralized autonomous organizations, as they're known as DAOs. Is that any possibility in the future of Superworld?
Yes, that's a great question. So, again, I think that the future, as we think of the metaverse, and I would say the very near future, is DAOs, and the creation of DAOs and Superworld, and enabling communities to get together to create content, to create organizations around their passions and the causes they believe in, create opportunities for them to access capital and to raise financing for those causes. And so I'd say, DAOs and DeFi are an interesting intersection in Superworld that you're going to see a lot of announcements and developments around. Is, again, how do we, bring our communities together in ways that they can take action in the real world, and do things not in a video game, or just a virtual environment. How do you get together in the real world using these structures? And that brings me to the other very important, I think, what you're going to see a trend in Superworld, and a theme, I would say, is real world utility. So that is, if there's anything we're focused on, that is it. How do we bring real world utility from these technologies? And so you'll see DAOs, DeFi, and real world utility as themes in terms of our product development, and future announcements, and what we're enabling with the token as well.
And I also feel like there's this very strong meta narrative brewing. It's happened
Mhm,
last year under
mhm,
the announcements of other social platforms.
mhm.
But as a realtor, here's my really specific question.
Yeah.
And all my real estate friends call me and say, hey, Craig, how do I buy plots? What do I do? What project do you think? And I don't want people just to see it from the immediate paper hands mindset. I want them to see it from diamond mindset. As I said before, it's really important that you're seeing the 5, 10-year vision of this. But for me, the question that I will have is, I've watched in my real estate career the paperwork become easier, the e-signature, the ability to set clients up on searches automatically that will notify me by text when something is really exciting to a client, how many views. So we're seeing this technology really pick up so fast, and the evolution of that in my 8 years as a realtor in Connecticut. So my question to you is, when do you think we'll be able to see the tokenization so when I go to sell a property, when you're selling that NFT, that digital asset in real time, they're also getting the physical asset as well. I know that there are some things going on with some of the other big brokerages, and Sandbox is working on a couple things with Snoop Dogg. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, again, I think this is a very important use case. Back to what I was saying about real world utility. So in Superworld, again, we're mapped on top of the real world. That's a very important distinction of what we're doing versus a number of other virtual worlds out there that are totally virtual environments. In our case, Superworld, again, it is any plot you buy in Superworld is actually a real place in the real world. And so for us, utilizing NFTs that provide real world utility is again the foundation of what we're focused on. So how do we did a NFT, for example, that you buy the NFT and you get access as a lifetime member to a luxury club called Custom House in New York and Miami. We're very close to Proppy. Tim Draper is an investor in Proppy as well as us, and they're a sister portfolio company of his, and our very close relationship to them. So I'm speaking at the Proppy conference on real estate coming up in Miami very soon. But the idea is, these digital assets, NFTs, have a lot of utility, and the real world utility of enabling those assets to enable the buyer to own real world real estate or have real world utility is at the center of that. I'm speaking at the ICE Mortgage Technology Conference to all the mortgage bankers later this month. And so I think the overall real estate market understands the possibilities in Superworld for real world utility. We have a number of real world property investors that are involved with Superworld as well into the company. And so a big part of our product development plan is again working with partners and like Proppy and working with others and building also a lot of infrastructure internally with Stephen Wolfram and others of looking at what's happening in the real world and how can we incorporate that data and that utility into our virtual real estate platform. So when you buy virtual real estate, you're getting that, again, real world connection, whether it's real world real estate, real world access, real world utility. There's a lot of different ways to looking at that.
No, I absolutely love it. And I think it's perfectly defined that you and a super world really should be the gateway into the metaverse when it comes to land purchases. I completely agree because you cover both realms of the world, the digital and the real world directly, which it makes you unique in the marketplace. And I'm super excited for what's to come, the updating of the map this coming year. I'm just honored that I get to have you as a guest on Craig's Crypto Corner. And thank you so much. Is there any parting words that you'd like to leave any of our super citizens out there with?
One comment on what we just talked about, and then I'll kind of also give you kind of some parting thoughts. I came from real estate investment banking. I worked on Wall Street and came from that space. So I was at UBS Investment Bank in that group focused on real estate in the traditional world. And so, we're again, everything we're doing here, we want to apply a lot of the same parallels to what we're seeing in the physical real estate world. Those can be applied to virtual real estate, and the beauty of virtual real estate is because it's virtual, you have lots of other things that are unimaginable in the physical world that are possible here. So I'm very excited about what we're building on the real estate side with as it applies to the physical utility and physical world. So very excited about that and looking forward to working with your audience and super citizens that are actively involved in physical real estate and get them on board in the virtual real estate market at Superworld. Parting thoughts, I'd say that, again, this is a movement. this we're not just a technology at Superworld. We're utilizing technologies like AR, VR, blockchain, AI, and we've been around for 5 years. So we've definitely have a very long term mindset around this. We're very early into the NFT market, and again, the things that we're thinking about and doing now, again, are very long term focused. And so the movement of Team Superworld, as we get more people to understand that we are a movement around empowering people and building a better world, as the technology evolves and as new technologies can be incorporated into Superworld, it gets more and more exciting. And so, I'd say that my message is that we all build Superworld together. And the way that we're building Superworld is, I was always very excited about building a company that everyone in the world can be involved in, can own, can be empowered to create, discover, and monetize anywhere, to empower themselves in their lives, to build livelihoods, what I call live to earn, but then also to do things that are very positive collectively for the planet, for positivity. Can we create a platform that we all really feel good about and also helps us make a very strong social impact, and a framework that enables all us as a world to be one? Can we all come together and utilize these technologies in a positive way as one world? And so those are all kinds of themes that I think Team Superworld's all about and this movement's all about. So I welcome, any of your audience who resonates with that idea,
Yeah.
who
A lot of
resonates with our
a lot
philosophy.
of a lot of my audience does. There's no question about it. And I think what you just said is we want to make the world a better place. Why not make it better with Superworld?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you coming on today, and I'm super excited to promote and share Superworld with more people so they become super citizens.
Thank you. And we're excited about having you as a partner. I'm excited to be on your show again and to tell you more as we evolve and continue on this journey. And really appreciate all of your support. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, you have that, and I appreciate it. I think we're wrapped up. Rich, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's an honor.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.